Hey guys, how's it going? It's Target here, coming at you with another episode of Online Versus. This time I'm randomizing 3 times again, and I've chosen the Chicago Blackhawks out of the 3 randomized teams. So we're going to be the Chicago Blackhawks. I absolutely love to play with the Blackhawks. I've said this before, and I've liked to play with them before. Hold on. Maybe we'll just leave it the same for this one. Yeah, I usually put Saad on the second line, but today I'm just going to rock it like this. I always say that I like to play with the Blackhawks because, and this is before we're even good this year. They've always been a decent team. Like last year, I liked to choose the Blackhawks. The year before, I liked to choose the Blackhawks. I just really like their speed. They're fun to play with. The Oiler players are getting to that point as well, so they're almost as fun to play with too. So now that we're into this kind of little online versus here already, I want to talk about something coming up here. On Monday, April 15th, I'm going to be doing a marathon of videos, okay? So the videos are going to be all of the same thing, like 10 in a row or however many I decide. I haven't really made that decision yet of how many I'm going to do, but just to nail out a bunch of content that I have, that it's backed up, that I'm behind on, and just really focus on it. But in order to do that, I'm going to need you guys' help. What we're going to do is we're going to be putting it to a vote to decide which one you guys like to see. So, the options for our videos are Online Shootout, Online Versus, Be a GM, NHL Moments Live, The Walking Dead, Army of Two, and Lego City Undercover. So it's totally up to you guys what you'd like to see, and we're going to be putting it to a vote, like I said. So there are actually 2 ways to vote on which one you'd like to see. The first one is to put a comment down below in the YouTube comments, okay? Put a comment there of what you'd like to see. The second way to vote is on Twitter, all right? So in order to vote on Twitter, you need to tweet the hashtag Marathon Day to my account, which is TargetOdd18, along with your selection. So, and this applies to both the votes in YouTube and Twitter. Format your thing interesting. Make it stand out. Make me laugh with it. I don't know. I'm just being an example here, but online versus. Just say versus or something, Make it different, or just make it shorter, or make it funny. I remember funny, and I like funny, so make me laugh, because I know you guys are pretty funny out there. And, choose what you like, for Be a GM, put bag or old bag. I don't know. I really don't know. Just put something in there that you'd like to vote. And then on Twitter, you put the same deal on there, just with the hashtag and to my account, so I get it. Okay, guys? Now, it's 1 vote per person, but here's the catch. On YouTube, your vote will count for 1. Okay? So if you vote once on YouTube, the only chance you get to vote is on YouTube. You can also vote on Twitter as well. It's totally up to you if you want to vote on both. But Twitter votes count for 2. So, if you want to maximize your votes for your selection, what you need to do is put a comment down below on YouTube. That'll be count as 1. And then what you need to do then is go over to Twitter, tweet to me, make sure you follow me as well, tweet to me, and that will count as 2. So you'll get your selection in there twice, or 3 times total if you do it that way, okay, guys? So, make sure you do that before April 15th. Or sorry, actually before April 14th, because April 14th is the day I'll actually sit down and record it all. April 15th is the day that it's going to all be posted. So, keep that in mind. Don't forget to post, or don't forget to make your comment before April 14th at 12 a.m. So, like, once midnight hits at the evening of April 13th, that's kind of, April 14th. So, that's the deadline, guys. Make sure you put in your votes so that I get them. Because I really want to do this for you guys, what you guys want to see. And we might do more of this down the road as well, okay? Now, let's kind of get to NHL news. I got criticized last time, because apparently, well, I don't know how many people criticized me. At least one criticized me, because I talk about the Oilers too much. And God forbid I talk about my favorite team. But I always throw in other NHL stuff there. I always talk about other hockey, other teams that are playing, stuff. Oh, geez, what a save. Other teams that are playing, injuries, trades, stuff like that. I never leave anybody out, really, for the most part. So, I mean, okay. But for this episode, I promise, The last time you hear me mentioning the Edmonton Oilers will be right now. The Edmonton Oilers. There you go. It's done. No talk of the Edmonton Oilers in this episode for those people that are truly, truly bothered by it. Instead, what we're going to talk about is, oh, what a hip check. That was huge. And another one. What we're going to talk about is the trade deadline, because that came and passed. Teams are making pushes for the playoffs, and we might even touch base in a little bit to see, how I feel about the playoffs and who's going to win what. But for now, we'll just talk about the trade deadline when we come back for the second period. Okay, welcome back for the second period, guys. So, let's talk about the trade deadline. Let's talk about what happened. And I think we can all agree kind of the trade deadline was cued by the Pittsburgh Penguins and the moves that they made, for Brendan Morrow, Douglas Murray, and then, of course, the big one, Jerome Iginla, sent to the Pittsburgh Penguins for Kenny Agostino, Ben Hanowski, and a first-round pick for this year. That was kind of the cue that the floodgates were open, the big boys were going to be moved, especially with the movement of Jerome Iginla, who I mentioned in the last video I was really sad to see go. Okay, so everybody knows about that trade. Let's move down the line here to some of the bigger trades that happened. Michael Handzus was dealt. I mean, Michael Handzus is decent. A bigger guy, and he was traded for a 4th-round pick in 2013. That's a good deal, I think, both ways for San Jose and Chicago. Chicago gets a big body that helps them make a push for the playoffs. Not that they need it, but help them go deep in the playoffs, because you need that. You need some depth, and you need some size, and you need some guys who can bang the bodies, because stats have shown in the past the people who hit more and fight more tend to win more in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I think Chicago's taking a book from the Anaheim Ducks. Their seasons are very similar so far in that they beat the Ducks' record for most points to start a season in games. And if they continue to hit like the Ducks did that year, good God, look out! You guys have a new Stanley Cup champion this year. The next kind of big trade that went through, obviously, was from Calgary again, Jay Bouwmeester. And also dealt that day, which is kind of funny, Robin Regehr, another former Flame who was traded. He made it to Buffalo, and then he got traded to Los Angeles. So Los Angeles was looking for some depth, defense, a player who is, tested as a skilled player, not exactly playoff, a playoff connoisseur. He hasn't had much playoff experience, but he's an experienced player. So Robin Regehr brings a nice little depth to that situation. Tampa Bay traded Marc-Andre Bergeron to Carolina. Now, I was a huge Bergeron fan back when he played for you-know-who, but I won't mention that because he's 5'11", but my God, or maybe not even that, he might be 5'10", I can't recall anymore, and he's tiny. But his slap shot is ridiculous, guys. Like, I think him and Pronger had a shootout thing one time in you-know-where. Oh, there you go. First goal of the game. Jonathan Toews, JT, Captain Toews, Captain Blackhawk. Him and Pronger had kind of a shootout thing back in the day, and they were very similar in shot power. So, I mean, that guy brings the heat. He's a power play specialist. Not much else, though. Jágr was dealt after some speculation. I believe the Stars said, no, we're not going to deal him originally. But they couldn't come to a deal to extend his contract. So you kind of knew it was coming. Is retirement in Jágr's future, like immediate future? I don't know. I think the guy still wants to play. He's only played 2 seasons now back in the NHL. I think we'll see Jágr around for at least one more year. Will that be in Boston? Maybe. It's really hard to say at this point. I think for his last season, he's going to go somewhere like it's obvious already. He's just going to go to the highest bidder. So I don't think that Boston will necessarily retain him. And if they do, it's because they offered him a contract he couldn't refuse for his final year. Who else was traded? Ryan Clough, the power forward that was kind of most coveted after Jerome Iginla went, and a few of the other big boys. He went to New York. New York was busy on the trade deadline day, to say the least. They picked up Ryan Clough, but they also got rid of somebody who, from what it appeared to be, was more of a getting along with the family type of thing. I think it was a John Tortorella thing, even though afterwards, oh, what a save by Crawford. That's nasty. Even though afterwards Torts said something along the lines of, oh, it had absolutely nothing to do with my relationship with Gaborik. We got along really well. I don't believe that shit for a second. Who gets along with John Tortorella? Even his mom thinks he's a dick. So, like, really, John Tortorella was the issue. I can guarantee you that. I'm happy for Gaborik. He's going to a market that's rebuilding. Oh, you know what? We'll talk about Gaborik when we come back for our third period right now. We're up, was it 1-0? Yeah, 1-0. All right, we'll see you on the other side, guys. Oh, okay, guys, welcome back to the third period, up 1-0 on the San Jose Sharks. Like I said, I'm really happy that Gaborik found his place in Columbus. It's kind of a weird move for me, I think. Ah, fucking penalties. On Columbus's side, anyway, if you think about it, Columbus finished last year, and they're making a push up. And now, does anybody recall what happened? Oh, what a goal with the breakaway. Does anybody else recall what happened to the Colorado Avalanche after they took Matt Duchene? They made it to the playoffs, guys. They made it to the playoffs, and everybody's like, wow, who needs a rebuild when you can go and pick up a player like Duchene, second overall, and end up in the playoffs? It doesn't matter. We're good. We're good to go now. Go Chicago, or go Colorado. What happened the next year after they made the playoffs? Colorado didn't do well. And guess what's happening this year? Colorado is at the bottom of the barrel. Here's the problem here, guys. The Columbus Blue Jackets don't have a crazy number of prospects in their system. They have Ryan Murray, and now they have Marian Gaborik. Now, there's 3 players in the NHL I kind of consider to be similar in style, okay? Marian Gaborik, Marian Hossa, and Alice Hemsky. That's the only other thing about the Oilers I'm going to mention. Now, obviously, I think that Marian Gaborik is the best of the group, followed by Hossa and then Hemsky, but I think that they all kind of have a similar style of play. They're really fancy players, but they get the job done. They're nose to the grindstone. They're not exactly really tough players, but they do play with a lot of heart for the most part. So I find those 3 incredibly similar. Now, having said that, can Gaborik carry a team? Absolutely not. He's not that type of player. He's a good skill player, but he's not a leader. Oh, here we go. Come on, let's score this. He's not a leader. He's just a good player, and he's a good complementary player who can finish plays and can make plays, but he does need a little bit of support from his teammates. So, decent trade, but I think that they got rid of Derek Brassard a little early. I think Brassard will be a great player. I mean, he paid off in spades to the Rangers the day that he made the day that he came over. Like, I think 2 of them were in on points already. Good God. Who else was traded? For goalies, Ben Bishop and Steve Mason were both moved. Tampa Bay picked up Bishop, so now they have the tallest goaltending tandem in the NHL with Lindback, who's 6'7", 6'6", and then Bishop, who's 6'7". Good God, this guy keeps going the same spot. He keeps missing the net. And then Bishop, who's 6'7". So that's like over 13 feet of goalie in net right there. That's huge. Those are big goalies. And Bishop's pretty good. If anybody saw that save he made with diving chest save, that save isn't made if you're not 6'7", boys. That was a great play, a great move, and he just used his size, the Superman dive. It was awesome. Who was actually traded on trade deadline day besides the goalies and Gaborik? Jason Pominville to the Minnesota Wild. So the guy that was complaining I talked about the Oilers too much said, why don't you talk about the Minnesota Wild? Why don't you talk about how they need a goalie? Okay, so Minnesota Wild picked up Jason Pominville and a 4th-round pick for Matt Hackett and Johan Larsson, and a 1st-round pick for 2013 and a 2nd-round pick for 2014. Holy crap, what a combo of players and picks. That's exhausting just talking about it. Pominville is a great player. I think that Minnesota made a great move to get that done. He's a good right winger. He's got some power on him. He's got some strength, and he's proven, he's a proven 65 plus point player per game or per year. So he's a good complementary player to their team, and they look I wouldn't say scary, but they definitely look better than they did before. I mean, the Minnesota Wild are kind of interesting. They went on then to pick up Jeff Delorier from the Ducks for future considerations. And as a you-know-what fan, Jeff Delorier is decent. He's probably the most flexible goalie I've seen since Dominic Hasek, but he definitely doesn't look anything like Hasek besides the fact that he can bend like a rubber band. That's about it. And I would not trust Jeff Delorier with the backup role. Is he enough to give Backstrom kind of a breather? Yeah, maybe for the rest of the year here, but I don't think he's somebody that you can trust going down like in the future to be a. Oh, what a tip! Look at this, waved off. I don't even think, did that hit his stick? I don't know if that hit his stick or not. Hold on, let's see. Oh, great view. It looks like it hit his shoulder the way he reacted. Well, maybe this will see it. Here, hold on. So it. I can't even see where it hit him. Okay, well, I mean, it looked like it hit his shoulder. I'm not sure. Oh, and they called it a goal, so it must have hit his shoulder. Good. There's Hossa with his second. A nice deflection. That was a rocket, too. Jeff Delorier, I guess, is a decent backup. I think that they could have picked up a little bit better. I don't know where you'd go for that, so I guess, I mean, it's okay. I don't think that they're necessarily happy with the trade. That's why they only traded for future considerations. Oh, and I just slid it wide. I think we'll find out later exactly what that is. So for now, it's just they picked up Jeff Delorier. And they guess they have a little bit of goaltending to take over some of the, or relieve Backstrom a little bit here for their push for the playoffs. Besides that, the Washington Capitals, they made a trade. They picked up Martin Erat for Philip Forsberg. They traded away Philip Forsberg. Now, I think at this point, everybody can agree that Nashville has kind of admitted, okay, we need to go back to the drawing board. We need to take a look at some players, you know, some prospects, and some draft picks, people who can jump in the future. For now, oh, wow! Off the invisible post, I call it. The invisible post, it looks like it hits the inside of the net, doesn't make a cling sound, and it doesn't count as a goal. So they're making a rebuild play, or rebuild they're kind of in partial rebuild mode without actually saying the word. You know, Jay Feaster won't admit that they're in rebuild mode. They're in, what do they call it again? Retrofit mode. Jesus Christ, get a grip on yourself, Feaster. That guy's a moron. Probably the worst GM in the league is Jay Feaster. Anyway, so Nashville, yeah. If they're in rebuild mode, guess who's going to want out? I bet you anything, Mr. Shea Weber's going to want to move on. And I can guarantee you, there are a lot of teams that are going to want his services. Oh, slap shot goal, top shelf. I don't know why he didn't go for the icing. I mean, I guess it's 3-0, but now it's 4 because of that. Oops, I want to go in timeout. Give myself a timeout. Home team. There we go. So Shea Weber's going to want out. And I can think of like 20 teams that would want Shea Weber's assistance on the line. One team that's definitely not in on that, though. Well, I shouldn't say definitely, but pretty sure they're not because they won't be able to afford it anymore, is Nashville. There's just too many not Nashville, goddamn, Minnesota. They'd like to reunite Suter and Weber, but I don't think that they could afford it, guys. There's no way they could afford that. Well, that's it, guys. I'm going to finish off by readdressing our vote. Remember, online shootout, online versus, be a GM, Moments Live, The Walking Dead, Army of Two, Lego City Undercover. Those are your options. Vote on YouTube, vote on Twitter, at TargetOdd18, with the hashtag Marathon Day, and 2 votes count for a Twitter vote, and 1 vote count for YouTube. So if you guys want to maximize your votes, vote on YouTube first or Twitter first and then the other guys. You want to get maximum votes. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter because this isn't going to be the first time we're going to be voting on something, or it won't be the last time we're going to be voting on something. There's going to be other stuff available for you guys to kind of put your input on. Alright guys, so I look forward to April 15th. Remember, the deadline for votes is April 14th at midnight, 12 a.m. So as soon as the clock strikes midnight, the evening of April 13th, and it becomes the 14th, that's when the votes are done. And that's Mountain time, guys. That's Mountain. So Eastern, that's 2 a.m. All right? So you guys get a little bit of extra time. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this episode of Online Versus. I really look forward to hearing back from you guys on your votes. Thanks for watching. I'm Target Audience. You guys have a good one.